I don't think the empathy Diana does. And so because of that, I don't think Meghan could fundamentally even do the things Diana did because she does not have that common touch, that ability to connect with people really well. I think Meghan completely lacks because she's too self-obsessed to do anything else.
Breaking right now, shock new revelations in a major book about the royal family claim that Meghan Markle wanted to finish what Princess Diana started, but on a part time basis. So, this is a fascinating revelation from a former member of staff to the Duke and Duchess of Sussex during their time within the royal family. This servant spoke anonymously to Yes Mum, The Secret Life of Royal Servants by Tom Quinn, which is this bombshell new book out later this month, described as an insight into what it's really like within the royal family. So let me take you through what this courtier told the author Tom Quinn of Meghan Markle. She once said, "What Diana started, I want to finish." And we took that to mean she wanted to become a sort of globe-trotting champion of the poor and the marginalized. Now, they prefaced that she didn't mean it in a critical way, but the insider added that Meghan had wanted to follow in the footsteps of her late mother-in-law, Diana, who was obviously known for her extensive humanitarian and charity work. But the Duchess's ambitions were apparently only a part-time commitment. So this is what the servant said. She has managed to do this to some extent, but she really wanted to do it as a princess and with the full backing of the royal family, but on a part-time basis. Brittany from the Royal News Network joins me now. This book is really interesting because, of course, the so-called servants, I don't like calling them servants, Brittany, courtiers who work within the royal family get the most extraordinary access, but as we know, are unable to speak out publicly or on the record because of the Official Secrets Act, which is effectively like a cast iron NDA, which means effectively you will never be able to publicly share or profit off the secrets from your time within the royal family. When it comes to Meghan Markle, though, that means a lot of bad behavior has been covered up, and the so-called Sussex Survivors Club, the poor courtiers who had to deal with all of her bullying over such a long period of time, really do want this information to be public. But what I found so interesting about this particular revelation from Yes Mom is it links to this idea that Meghan was obsessed with a concept of being a modern day Princess Diana. She loved that concept, but actually she didn't understand, Brittany, that number one was impossible because of the love and affection that we had for Princess Diana, given she entered the royal family as a virgin at 19 years of age, but also that it took Diana full-time work for years and years and years to get to that position.
Exactly. When you look at Princess Diana, she worked so incredibly hard. She had worked really, really hard. She took a lot of risks and she decided to basically slowly change how royals worked, how royals operated. She had very much that common touch, very empathetic. And I think people really gravitated towards that. And Meghan Markle, I think, just walked in there and expected, number one, to be treated like Diana in terms of being as loved as she is. She wanted that immediately without having to work for it. And then you see Meghan as well, and she just wanted to do this part time. I don't think this was ever a true passion for her. She just loved the idea, like you said, the concept. She didn't really actually want to put any work into this. She didn't really want to make it happen in the way that it naturally would. She just sort of was like, well, I'll just be a princess and everything will work out and it'll be great. And I think as well when it comes to Meghan, I don't think the empathy Diana does. And so because of that, I don't think Meghan could fundamentally even do the things Diana did because she does not have that common touch, that ability to connect with people really well. I think Meghan completely lacks because she's too self-obsessed to do anything else. And then at the end of the day, I always come back to the idea of if you're trying to recreate and mimic the legacy of somebody else, you will probably fail because you're not creating your own legacy. You're trying to actually grab onto a legacy that has already been successful. And so you are just really riding on the coattails of somebody else's achievements rather than trying to do your own. And I think that was a critical failure of Meghan's. I feel like Catherine and William are not trying to recreate the legacy of Diana, they're trying to forge their own. And that's what every royal should do. If Meghan was coming into the family trying to be sort of the reincarnation, the completion of Diana's, vision or whatever, I think that was obviously going to be doomed to failure from the beginning because she's not Diana. And that is just a totally inaccurate premise to go about from the very beginning. So, of course, that wasn't going to go anywhere. Of course, it was going to lead to failure. And that's exactly what happened.
Well, she's cosplaying Princess Diana, isn't she? And she's also being incredibly manipulative with Prince Harry when it comes to his mother, claiming that his mother's talking to her, claiming that his mother is telling her what she should be doing. Very, very emotionally manipulative, I would argue. However, what I find just so arrogant was the idea that Meghan believed that she could do all of that, be Princess Diana, while making money. Remember, even during her time in the royal family, Brittany, she had her team in Hollywood. I was the first one to reveal this, her team in Hollywood, negotiating deals. Remember, Harry was pimping her out to the chief executive of Disney at a film premiere, trying to get her to voice over a film and be paid for it. Now, look, Diana had her faults. Of course, I'm not going to disagree with that. Personally, I adored her. So I find it hard to lean into her faults, but I'm not saying she didn't have her faults. However, Brittany, nothing she ever did was about the money. And look, all of these decades later, and you can immediately link Princess Diana to a whole load of important causes. Landmines, the scourge of eating disorders like bulimia, the acceptance that you could actually touch people who were suffering from HIV or AIDS, homelessness, which Prince William is beautifully carrying on. I don't believe that there is one cause I can link to Meghan Markle.
No, she's just constantly jumping from thing to thing to thing. And we see this reflected in her lack of vision, even for As Ever or American Riviera Orchard or whatever it's going to end up being, because I'm sure we're going to get a third name or fourth name here at some point. She has no overarching vision because I think Meghan is solely motivated by greed. I think she married Harry, realized all of a sudden very quickly that she married a millionaire, not a billionaire like she thought, that he didn't have that much money, that she was stuck in Nottingham Cottage. And she's like, how dare I not be in the biggest place in the palace, comparing herself to Catherine and William. And so she convinced him to leave because, oh, we're doing what Diana did. And remember, Diana, she was going to go and live in the States or something at some point. And so she sort of convinced him of this under the guise, I think, of utilizing the memory of his mother, which is just a horrific thing to do. When in reality, she just realized I can't live off, 2 or 3 million pounds a year. That was too little for her, what they would get from like the Duchy of Cornwall or whatever Harry's inheritances. She's like, that's too little for me to live on. I need more Justin Clone necklaces from Cartier. So we're going to have to work to the bone, Harry. We're going to have to go out and get as many deals as possible and make things happen because to her, marrying into the royal family, marrying him was all about how that could help her achieve her goals in terms of Hollywood fame and fortune, of course. She was always after the money, the power, whatever, but she did not have a love for the common man. And I truly believe Diana had a love and really wanted to connect with people in all stations of life. And Meghan Markle has none of that. So in that way, the two women could not be more different.
But first, you know how often I talk about the need for free speech to be protected, but I've been thinking a lot lately about the need for personal protection online from snoopers, bad actors, and hackers. But don't worry, I have found the fail-safe solution. And what's more, this VPN is a life changer when it comes to providing you entertainment and information from anywhere in the world, wherever you are. So let me introduce you to Surfshark, an incredible, easy-to-use service that encrypts all your internet traffic, meaning your online activities stay safe, allowing you to shop, to stream, to browse, to conduct your banking online in complete privacy. But the benefits of Surfshark go way beyond keeping you safe online. This service allows you to access your favorite entertainment or news shows or channels, or access, by the way, to streaming services like Hulu, iPlayer, HBO Max, and Peacock. Or if you've got a streaming service already, but your favorite show happens to be geo-blocked, maybe on Netflix or Amazon Prime or Disney Plus, within seconds, you can actually be watching as if you are in another country. This is such a good service. Really helps, by the way, if you're traveling for work or on holiday and you want to get your favorite local content from home, including sports, which is very often subject to geo-blocking. Plus, Surfshark is an insurance policy against creeping censorship in many countries which block some of these services. Effectively, you can watch anything, anytime, anywhere. It is true freedom. There's also so much you can do with VPNs, right? It's a way to save you money and get the best deals from websites that change their prices depending on where you're buying from. So you can actually sign in to multiple countries and check the price before buying. There are other benefits too. Surfshark is available to use on unlimited devices, which means your entire household, so your husband, your wife, your kids, can stay safe with just one subscription. And there are over 3,200 servers in over 100 countries, meaning a world of choices at your fingertips with 24/7 customer service if it is your first time using a VPN. So go to surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. What's more, Surfshark is so confident they're the best VPN in the world that you can give it a try for a full 30 days. And if you're not entirely satisfied, you will get your money back. So go to www.surfshark.com/outspoken for an extra 4 months of Surfshark at an unbeatable price. But now, back to the show. You're so right, Brittany, and can I just remind everyone, there were no horror stories about Diana's treatment of staff. If anything, the only thing that people said about Princess Diana is that she became too close to her staff. Look at her very close friendship, for example, with Paul Burrell. She wanted to hang out downstairs. She wanted to hang out in the kitchen. Yet with Meghan Markle, what have we heard? She was a bully to her staff. She treated them like the mud on her shoe. Even Catherine had to step in and say, hey, that's not how we do things. So I think so many differences, and I don't believe there's any chance that the public will ever view Meghan Markle as some sort of reincarnation of Princess Diana. Now, Brittany, I want to speak about Catherine, the Princess of Wales, because there has been an increasing focus over the past couple of weeks about Catherine's appearance and her clothing. This was after a botched article by the royal editor of the Sunday Times, Roy Anika, which seemed to suggest that Catherine had herself told the journalist that she wanted people to focus on her causes rather than what she was wearing. It prompted a rare correction from the communications secretary at Kensington Palace, who clarified that it was him who had made that comment, not Catherine, and that there wasn't going to be any sort of formalized change in terms of the briefing of what she was wearing. But this has been taken on in quite an egregious manner by the Daily Mail on their Palace Confidential show. And it was Prince William's Jaw on X who actually brought this to my attention. They posted, Charlotte Griffiths refers to Princess Catherine as the dress-up beautiful Princess Dolly, who only dresses in brown now. The deliberate, nasty slander is overwhelming. And we wonder why Catherine is dressing down and why Kensington Palace stated an end to announcing Catherine's clothing. I am really sick and tired of people trying to score personal points on the back of Catherine and William. So, Brittany, let me show you. I went and dug out exactly what that tweet or that post on X was in reference to. Let's watch it now, and then I'll get your response off the back.
There's a pattern here, Richard. I slightly disagree with you because, first of all, she's only wearing brown for some reason, and then she's saying she's not going to tell people about what she's wearing. Then she's declining opportunities to dress up in her glittery, show-stopping fairy tale princess outfits.
Which she won't thank me for saying, but I'm very disappointed by.
Yeah, but it is a departure because that's kind of what she was for a while, the dress-up beautiful princess dolly that we, saw at BAFTA. And
Well,
she's obviously moving away from that.
I don't know if I'd call it a dolly. I think that's that's probably exactly why she's not telling us anymore, because some people say, oh, she's just the dolly bird. But it's part of the package, isn't it?
But that's the thing. She doesn't want to be known as the dolly bird.
Yeah.
She doesn't want to be dressed up or tell people what she's wearing. She's wearing dark colours and doing dark themed events. I mean, these are dark subjects she's tackling at the moment. I think we could be seeing a very different era for her.
And what about then this?
Brittany, your reaction.
Oh man, especially her comment on, oh, she's doing dark things. It's like she went to the cancer ward where she had her treatment. She went to a children's hospice. Yes, those are dark places, but she goes in there to bring a bit of light and a bit of that royal sparkle. And in Catherine's defense as well, it is the winter. People tend to wear darker colors during winter time. But I think Catherine's the emphasis, although it was sort of misconstrued by the Times and everything, and we got a bunch of pieces on it and all those sorts of things about her wardrobe and where things were going. I think at the end of the day, I think royal dressing is incredibly important because royal ladies can send so many messages through their clothing. And we see this in actually all different sorts of royal families. So I think the perception that they're just a dress up dolly is a bit ridiculous. We do love the fashion. I remember a lot of Catherine's events based on the fashion that she wore. And so I think that plays, of course, a very critical role. But at the same time, they are doing good work. And so you should be able to focus on both because I think dressing well as a royal is a very, very critical part of it because that draws the eye and the attention to the cause that you're doing. And when it came to the kids in this particular instance, although you could say her outfit wasn't very flashy or anything, it was very appropriate for the events. She let the kids shine. And she's, I think, going into this mode now, especially since the death of Queen Elizabeth, where she's embracing more suits than she previously did, because she was very much respecting Queen Elizabeth, who I don't think was super fond of suits. So Catherine's just changing things up, and we want to see this. She's older now, and what for women happens is that we tend to change our style. Maybe guys, it doesn't happen quite as much, but women, we tend to change and adjust as we're in different periods of our life. And I think Catherine, she's going through a bit of that right now. And I think it's amazing. I think she looks great. I think she is changing how she looks. And although I will say she wore basically the same outfit to two events, one in January and one in February. So she is sort of going down that road of hoping if she wears something less interesting or something that we've seen before, we'll focus more on what she's actually doing rather than on the fashion. I get that. I think that's a bit of a risk though, because you don't want to take that too far, but I understand where she's going because she wants people to focus on the work that she is doing. She's not a dress-up dolly. She's trying to change the future of the UK by focusing on the early childhood years. And I think that is fantastic. And I think we won't see let's say the success of that right away. That'll be years in the making, but I think she'll have a massive, wonderful platform. And I think she'll make a tremendous impact on the UK, both for the sake of children and in some cases, the case of fashion as well.
Can I also just say about this, Brittany, in direct response to Charlotte Griffiths, maybe when you've just gone through a cancer battle in your early 40s, something which has clearly changed your life and changed your perspective on life, it's okay if sometimes you don't want the focus to be on your clothes. I thought this was a very spiteful and nasty comment given the incredible work that Catherine has done since returning to the public. I remember some people, Brittany, were not even thinking that she would go back to work full time at all. And yet here she is in women's prisons in Southport with the children. And look here, by the way, Charlotte Griffiths, Wimbledon and the Christmas concert in bright red and bright purple. So she isn't turning away from colour, Brittany. What she's doing is being completely appropriate with what she is wearing, given the type of event she is attending. It makes total sense.
It does. And she's always, I will say with Catherine, I don't maybe necessarily like everything she does, when it comes to fashion, but she puts intention into every single outfit. There's not a hair out of place. Everything looks really, really well put together. And so she puts so much intention and effort into her outfits to really present herself the best way to the British public. And she has gone through this very difficult cancer battle, and it's going to change her perspective on things. And I'm so happy that we've seen her so much. I was really sort of worried that we would see a very slow reintegration into royal duties, but she's actually hit the ground running, I think. They're supposedly on vacation this week, which is totally understandable. But I think she looks great. And I think to say anything else is just an absolute just snide remark that is unnecessary. She's doing what she needs to do to draw attention to causes that are dear to her heart and things that she wants to uplift of people all over the UK. And so I think she's choosing every outfit with intention, as she always has. But yes, maybe she's changing things up a bit as she's gone through this cancer battle. She now has a port scar, as she has said that she did have a port inserted. So that's something she's thinking about as well. So I think giving Catherine grace during this time, I think, is wonderful. And again, I will stress, it's winter. Brown and black are perfectly appropriate this time of year. So I think to say that, oh, we need bright colors is a little silly. Bright colors are there for the spring, and we'll get those soon enough. But right now, Catherine's just doing exactly what she needs to do, and she's doing it with a stylish flair, as she always does.
Beautifully put, Brittany. Beautifully put. And this is why you just have to sign up to the Royal News Network. Subscribe. You can do so completely for free on YouTube, and it really is worth it. But Brittany, I love having you as part of Outspoken, and we will speak next week. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source, and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.